Hey guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining today's session. This is Jason from Yeastar Training Team. Glad to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And this is going to be another session, and we're going to talk about some advanced features on our P-Series system. Okay, morning guys, afternoon, good evening. Okay, good to have you guys here. Well, I'm going to keep going. Okay. So as I mentioned, this session, we are going to have 4 sessions totally, and we're just going to talk about some advanced settings on the P-Series system. So the previous session, I guess we just finished last week, maybe. That one we just talk about something basic on your P-Series system. It's kind of like you got a brand new system and you want to figure out how can I deploy the system. Then we just talk about something very fundamental, very basic. Well, actually, on the P-Series system, we have so many features. So this one, we're going to talk about something a little bit advanced. Okay, so guess this is about the time. Let's jump in. Okay, now the first feature I'm going to talk about in today's session will be this. Let's just take a look at the contacts here. All right, this is going to be the first one. So on the P-Series system, we have a built-in contacts management solution, which is the contacts feature. This is the first one. So if you try to use your P-Series system to manage your contacts, this is exactly the answer for you to do it. And I guess in the previous sessions, we've already talked about the solution for individual users, which is called web client. So every single one of our individual users, they can jump into the P-Series system, with their web client, right? So this contacts management is like if I'm the super administrator, if I just upload the whole contacts for our company, then when I try to activate the user permission for some particular extension users, the next time when they jump into the web client, well, good for them. They are going to be able to manage our contacts. They can actually see the contacts information. They can also edit those contacts. That's basically what it is. So have a look. This part of configuration is pretty simple. What we're going to do here is we can simply go jump in here, go click on contacts, then we're going to go check on company contacts, and here we go. So if we try to configure a new contact, we can simply go click on add there, and you can just add a single contact here, one by one. This is the way how you're going to do it. Some basic information like name, company information, contact number, email address, something like this. All right, so this is something basic. Now, one more thing here you might probably see here is going to be this phone book list. So this is actually our question. Now, I guess we need to explain here a little bit. If we get a brand new P-Series system, especially the appliance edition, which is the on-premise version. All right, so if you get the on-premise version, the hardware, the business model is called hardware plus the subscription plans, right? So you can choose to purchase the hardware only, or you can also choose to subscribe our, enterprise plan or the ultimate plan additionally. So that's flexible. So like I said, if we're talking about the appliance edition, all right, if you just get the hardware only, which is the basic plan, you never subscribe anything else, all right, so this phone book feature is not available. It's not going to be available for you to use the phone book feature. You only have contacts management, a very basic contacts management. That's it. So which means you can upload all of your contacts on the P-Series system, not a problem. But when you try to make your contacts be more specific, like I just want to manage my contacts in different groups. I have contacts from my, maybe clients, maybe customers, maybe VIP customers. Well, it's not going to be possible for us to do it. Only when we enable the enterprise plan, I mean, either enterprise plan or ultimate plan. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to use this phone book feature. So that's something we need to be a little bit careful. Now, apparently, the model I'm using right now, it's P570. It has been enabled with the ultimate plan. So I will be able to use the phone book feature. And by the way, you guys can see I have so many phone books there, and pretty sure I can just choose to assign this particular contact in a very specific phone book. This is what I can do here. And this is something you guys need to be careful, all right? Especially when you choose the appliance edition. Just keep this in your mind. If you want to have the phone book feature, don't forget to subscribe the enterprise plan or the ultimate plan to enable this feature. All right. Generally speaking, this part of configuration is pretty simple. You can also choose to go click on export. All right, so this is another way for you to do it. You go check on export, you're going to get the CSV file. That's kind of like the template. Then we're gonna, edit whatever we prefer. Then we can just upload the template back on our system. So that will be option 2. All right. By the way, here we can also go check on options. So you can also have some options here, some preferences, I guess, like a do not match or exact match or match the latest 5 digits. But I guess usually people would like to take the third one. We don't need to make it be the exact match. It's not that easy for us to figure this out. Sometimes we probably just want to, we just probably want to capture, all the information. We don't want to miss any call. So we can probably use this, match the last 5 digits. That really makes sense. All right, so this is about the context configuration. Now, one more thing. How do we control the user permission when they try to use the context feature? Like I said, working as the super administrator, this is the way how we customize it. But we got another question is, what if an individual user, tries to use this? How can we assign the user permission for this guy? Well, we can simply switch it back to the extension setting. This is something for reviewing. Have a look. So we can go check on extension group here. You guys do remember? Now we back to the extension group here, and we can find every single one of our extension groups here. Now just find the one which you prefer to configure. All right, for example, the sales department. I want to change the user permission for those sales agents. So we can go access this place. Then we go check on group permissions. Here we go. And this is the place for us to customize the user permission, like I said. We have manager. For each one of our extension group, we got a manager. We got a couple of users, right? So you can choose to enable the user permission, see whether they have the ability to check our phone books or the contacts feature. Anyway, so this is the way how we customize the manager user permission. As you can see here, we can enable view phone books, manage phone books. By the way, like I said, if you never subscribe the phone book, if you never subscribe the enterprise plan or ultimate plan, then right over here, it's not called phone book, it's called contacts. Okay, so this is something we need to be a little bit careful. And as for user permission, you can see here, for honor a user, we can also set a user permission to see whether you have the ability to manage the phone book or just checking the phone book. All right, so this is about the user permission configuration, I guess. Not a big deal, right? Pretty simple. Now let's keep going with our contacts. So that was all about the contacts feature. And here's the phone books feature. Once again, like I said, configuration is pretty easy. Just don't forget to subscribe the plan. Then you will be able to have the phone books feature here. Then you can just go click on add, create a new phone book. Pretty sure this is the way how we manage our contacts in a more specific way. Okay, now keep going. Next one is we also support LDAP. The LDAP feature, I guess it's not that popular, especially when we have a built-in context feature. And by the way, we can also support CRM integration. So I guess LDAP feature is not that popular, but the point is we can still support it. Some customers, they might probably want to make their PBX to work as the LDAP server. The answer is yes, P-Series system supports it. If you truly want to make your P-Series system to work as the LDAP server to manage your contacts, you can simply go check this place, enable the LDAP server. That's what you're supposed to do. And right over here, you can see we have something, I guess, some parameters, very basic. You can choose to enable them. Like this, company contacts and extensions, whichever you prefer to manage your contacts. All right, if you only want to manage your company contacts, you don't want to see your extension information based on this LDAP server, then you can just disable this. That's pretty flexible, depends on you. Then we can also go check on LDAP server settings, by the way. I guess for LDAP server, usually people will like to use this feature locally. All right, this is quite popular locally because usually we're going to deploy our IP phones, those endpoints in the office under the same local area network. It truly makes sense, but apparently it's not that easy for us to make it work all the time, especially under the current situation. Believe it or not, hybrid working is going to be more and more popular in the future because we're still under the pandemic. So who knows what's going to happen? So sometimes we're going to take the hybrid working model, right? So if we take hybrid working model, then people, they need the flexibility. Sometimes they're in the office, sometimes they're they're just stay at home, right? So for example, if I'm an individual user and if I prefer the old school style, I want to use the hardware desktop phone in my house. Oh well, what now? Now the good thing is for that, even for that circumstance, we can still use the LDAP server. That's also supported. So what we can do here is, you guys can see here, we got LDAP server port, by the way, but actually we don't even need to use this port. You don't need to map this port. All right. The answer is called LDAP remote access service. I'm sorry, remote access service host. I'm sorry, guys. Check this. So pretty sure you guys already know it. On the P-Series system, we got a really pretty smart solution. Actually, it's very good for security. It's called remote access service for any kind of remote connection, remote access, right? So even for the LDAP server access, we can also use the remote access service as well, which is going to be this FQDM. So that's why I mentioned this time, if you try to use your LDAP server remotely, you got an easier solution, I guess, much easier than previously. So this solution basically means you can simply just get your system be ready with the FQDM. By the way, don't forget to subscribe the plan. So subscribe the plan, enable the RAS, get this FQDM for your PBX, and next time, even for the remote access of your LDAP, you can also use this FQDM. It's fully encrypted, actually, because traditionally, if we try to figure out the LDAP server remote access, we're supposed to map the port, we're supposed to use some, encryptions. Anyway, it's quite complex, not that user friendly. And by the way, it's also kind of risky because you're going to open some particular port in the public network. So there's always a risk if you open any port in the public network. This is just a risk, right? So this time, smart solution, smart idea is by using the remote access service. That's what it is. Then, by the way, next part here will be LDAP credentials, as we can see here for LDAP users. So this is just basically, if you try to get some details for your extensions, which is going to be your LDAP clients, you can go check over here. That's what it is. So this is just the LDAP server feature, not a big deal. Well, I guess the only thing matters here is just try to remember this feature is supported on the P-Series system. And by the way, the best solution for you guys to use the LDAP server remotely is by using the RAS, which is this. Check this. Remote access service. Once again, you will get this particular FQDM. So that was all about the context feature. Okay. Now let's keep going. Let's keep going for another feature. Another feature on our system I'm going to talk about in today's session. It's going to be this, called control settings. And pretty sure you guys will see this, auto clip. This feature, to be very honest, previously, I guess the previous hardware version, nope, I'm sorry, the previous firmware version doesn't support this feature. Now, right now, you got a P-Series system there, you don't have to worry about it. This feature, it's totally supported. The auto clip feature, I guess, is not a big deal. Honestly, it's not a big deal, but sometimes this feature is truly very practical. For example, like if I'm an agent for the service center, let's see, and I try to contact one of my contacts. Now, probably this contact currently he's not available to pick up the phone. Maybe he's on the way. Probably he's driving on the way. Who knows? So he's not going to be able to pick it up. The next time when he tries to call me back, well, as we know, if we don't have the auto clip feature, that's a service number. The caller ID you show to your customer is going to be your company phone line, the company telephone number, right? So pretty sure this customer, when he calls back, the destination will be your IVR. Well, I guess 9 times out of 10 will be IVR, which is very popular, right? So honestly, for the circumstance we're talking about now, it sucks. That's not what we want. We actually want to optimize our customer experience. We would like to give our customer the direct service directly. We don't want to waste their time. So I don't want you to call back to the IVR, to the normal destination. I actually want you to call back to reach me directly because I'm your account manager. That's what I prefer to have. So that's why we need to use the auto clip feature. Basically, this is what it is. So pretty easy. If you want to use the auto clip, you can simply just enable auto clip. Enable this feature, and then next time we can just use it. Now the only thing left here is going to be settings. Have a look. How would you like to use the auto clip? Okay. So first thing here is going to be record keep time. It depends on us. You know, the auto clip is kind of like our system would just try to capture those data, you know, the record, like I said. So you can choose to make your own decision here. How many hours, how many days would you like to keep the record for the customer? I mean, for this callback, right? The record. So we can use the default one, which is 8 hours. That basically means we're just gonna keep this record for 8 hours. So if you call me back during 8 hours, under this 8 hours, good. We're gonna drop your call to the particular destination. Might be this specific agent. Well, if you call me back over 8 hours, all right, I'm sorry, you're gonna get back to the original destination. Might be IVR. So that's what it is. And here we also have digits match here. The default one will be 7 digits. So it's kind of like we're just gonna try to figure out this callback number. We're gonna try to match this number with at least the 7 digits. That's it. So it's like our system will just check this callback number. If 7 digits of the entire number can be matched, then we're gonna use the auto clip. Otherwise, we're not gonna use it. But pretty sure this digits match, it's flexible. You can change it to anything you prefer, 7 digits or maybe 5 digits, depends on you. This is just the way how we identify the caller ID from our customers, so we can figure out whether we're going to use the auto clip. Okay. The next one we have here will be delete used records. Like I said, if we enable delete used records, so it's like if this customer calls me back under this 8 hours, that means we're gonna take this particular record. That means this record has been used. The next time we're just gonna delete this record. So next time when he tries to call me back, I'm sorry, you're gonna get back to the IVR. Then number 2, only keep missed call records. Pretty simple. We are only gonna keep the record for those missed calls. So like I said, if I call this customer and he just missed this call, then when he calls back, we're going to use the record for the auto clip. And the third one, match outgoing chunk. This one, I guess, is it's optional. Sometimes, you know, we might probably have multiple caller IDs. We might probably have multiple chunks. So we actually just prefer to enable the auto clip feature for those customers who's calling us, who's calling us back through the same chunk which we were using before. The next step, select your channels. So which chunk would you like to take this auto clip feature? That's the final step, I guess. Then here we can also choose the extensions and the groups as well for auto clip. So this feature we can apply it on the particular chunk. We can also apply this feature on a particular extension as well. So this is about the auto clip. Okay. Pretty simple, but I guess it's very functional for some circumstances, I guess. Okay, now let's keep going. So next feature I'm going to talk about on the P-Series system is going to be this. Let's go check on system, and let's go click on network. This is something I think we need to talk about a little bit here, which is going to be basic settings for the Ethernet. Have a look, just have a look. As we know, every single time if we get a brand new P-Series system, you know the Ethernet mode is under a single mode, right? The default interface is LAN port, not a problem. And I guess it works mostly. We can just use it directly. Simply take the cable, connect with our LAN port with our router. So on the one hand, we connect the LAN port. On the other hand, we connect it with our router or network switch. Anyway, so this is quite popular, the way how we drop the PBX in the local area network, how we get connected, right? That works for most of our circumstances, but sometimes it won't. Sometimes the way how we get the SIP trunk is actually based on dedicated SIP trunk. It's based on a very specific channel. I mean, you will have a very specific cable, and that cable provides you SIP service only. I mean, that cable, it looks like exactly the same thing as what you have with your network cable, but it's different channel. That channel only provides you the SIP service. which means you can only use it for making calls. You can't use it for network connection. Now, here's the deal. As we know, physically on the P-Series system, we got two interfaces, right? We have LAN port, we have LAN port. Physically, we got two interfaces, and absolutely we can enable two interfaces simultaneously, just like this. We can enable the system with dual mode, right? We can have LAN port and WAN port working simultaneously. However, the thing here is our system is not going to be able to handle two different networks simultaneously. That's the big problem. You know, pretty sure we can connect two different networks, but we cannot make two different networks working simultaneously. We can only handle one network for one time. So what now? Now we got a traffic issue. If we have dual mode enabled, like I said, you got LAN port and WAN port enabled simultaneously. Probably we're going to use the LAN port as the default interface. That means we're going to use the LAN port to work as the default one to handle data transmission. And as for the WAN port, we're not going to do anything there because the system, according to my configuration right now, WAN port, we just leave it there. We just leave it empty. All right, it's not going to be capable. It's not capable to handle any data transmission right now. So how can we make this WAN port work actually for the circumstance right now? Under the circumstance like this, what we're going to do is we're supposed to go click on static route. All right, just go check on static routes there and add a particular route here. This is the way how we do it. All right. So for example, like I said, the default interface is LAN port. All right. That means all the data transmission, they're going to go through the LAN port. So if we truly want to make the WAN port works now, then we're supposed to add a particular route here to tell the system, hey, this is a particular route for a particular destination, and next time any data transmission packets, if they're looking for this particular destination, please use the WAN port. So this is the way how we activate the WAN port, make it useful, make it be capable to handle our data transmission for SIP connections. That's it. So theoretically, this is very easy to understand, right? But what really matters now is just don't forget this. Sometimes our customers, they just forgot about this, and they know how it works, but they just forgot to add a particular rule here. Then they will get in trouble. The trouble is the SIP trunk, it won't work. Okay, so here we can simply just go check on add, create a new route, like I said. So the interface, you can probably add a particular one, which is LAN port or WAN port. Depends on you. It totally depends on you. Now, first of all, we're supposed to, back to the basic settings, we're supposed to change the Ethernet mode. All right. If this is on our LAN port, if this is on our single mode or bridge mode, I don't think we truly need a static route because by default configuration, pretty sure all the data transmission, they go through the LAN port, right? Because the only one network card has been enabled, which is the one based on LAN port. So we don't even need to add a static route. Now, if we truly want to use this static route, the only condition is going to be this. Your PBX is working under dual mode. All right, you're going to have two different networks connection on your PBX. All right, so for example, like this, let's just go click on save first. Okay, I'm not going to reboot the system. All right, I'm going to skip this. I will just go click on save. All right, now we get back to the static routes here. Click on add. So here you will be able to see the interface. I'm sorry, guys. I guess I will need to reboot the system. All right. So you guys can see if I never reboot the system, right now, this drop-down list, it doesn't give me any other option. It only gives me one option, which is LAN port. So once again, if you want to configure the static route, I guess you truly need to reboot your system, all right, to enable the dual mode. But anyway, I'm just gonna explain this. All right. So like I said, if your system is working under dual mode, then next time when you go click on this drop-down list, you will have LAN port and WAN port, two options. Now, for the current circumstance, like I described before, we're just gonna select WAN port. That's what it is. Then here you will just need to enter the destination. So the destination, if this is for SIP trunking, you know, for the SIP trunk connectivity with your service provider, probably you will just need to enter the destination, which is the one you get from the service provider, because that's the way how you communicate with that particular server to enable the SIP trunk. That's what it is. And by the way, don't forget to configure subnet mask, gateway, metric, but gateway and metric, I guess, is optional. The most important thing here will be the destination with your subnet mask. That's what it is. So this is about the static route configuration, I guess. Okay, now it's clear. All right, now let's just keep going, okay? Now keep going with our P-Series system. Another advanced settings we will have here will be two more things, I guess, will be this. Let's go with the integrations. Keep going with this. So two more things left here for today's session. It's gonna be this. When you click on integrations, guys, you can see we have CRM. I'm gonna talk about the CRM integration on, I guess, session 4. Don't worry about this. We have speech to text, we have AMI, we have database grant. So let's have a look on speech to text. Okay, this is gonna be our next one. What is speech to text? Well, speech to text or STT, this is quite special, honestly. Let's just talk about the user experience first. Traditionally, as we know, for individual users, when they get a voicemail, I guess the only way for them to handle the voicemail is by playing the audio, right? Because voicemail is totally the audio file. You got the audio file there. If you want to handle the voicemail, well, please grab your phone or take your mobile client or web client, whatever, with your headset. Just play it. Click on the play button. Check. That's the way how you check the voicemail. Well, that's good. I mean, that's very normal, pretty ordinary, not a problem. But sometimes it's not that good for our user experience. Sometimes, individual users, they probably want to have the flexibility. They want to check the voicemail, but they don't want to play it right now. So what now? Now, the better solution for them is, what if we can transcribe the voicemail, the audio message to the text version? That would be great, right? So that's what we can do with this part of feature, speech to text. Honestly, guys, this feature, as you can see here, the service we're using, it's based on Google Cloud. So this is a third-party integration solution. The configuration is pretty simple. Like I said, it's totally based on Google Cloud. How do we use this feature? Now, first of all, if you want to use the speech to text, you can go click on this one, and you're gonna go select the service. All right. So this service, we only provide you guys one option, which is Google Cloud. You can just simply choose Google Cloud. This is step 1. Step 2, you're gonna keep going. So you will see here, we got an API key, right? You will need the API key. So how can we get the API key? I'm sorry, guys. Currently, I don't have VPN service, so I'm not going to be able to access the Google Cloud. But I'm going to show you guys a couple of pages of the screenshot I got from the Google Cloud. So just give me a second. I'm going to show you the way how we figure out the integration, the way how we get the API key from Google Cloud. Let's have a look here. Okay, check this. I got a few pages of the screenshot. Have a look. This is how it looks like. What you're supposed to do is you can simply use your user account, go access Google Cloud. All right, even for individual user, that's fine. Even you don't have any, Google Cloud additional service, that's fine, not a problem. You can actually use it directly. So simply jump into Google Cloud platform and go check on My First Project. This is what you're supposed to do. And you will see there's a new project, right? So this is absolutely where we're going to go click on it. All right, we're just going to need a new project. So go check on it. And next step. Next step, we're going to do something for this new project. So you can simply go access the API library. All right, go check on the API library here. Search speech to text or STT. This is the thing you need there. All right, so you get this particular API service. Exactly the first one. I got the screenshot in the red rectangle. You guys can see this. Cloud speech to text API. Get this one. All right, and then we're gonna back to the main menu, check on APIs and services, and find credentials. Go check on that. And you can see here, create a credential. We are gonna go click on API key. So this is basically a few steps for helping us to get the API key from Google Cloud. Now, once you get the API key, pretty simple, switch it back on your P-Series system, copy the API key, drop it on your PBX. Pretty simple, that's what it is. then you can just switch it back on your PBX, fill in the blanks. So back on our system, let's just switch it back on our system and have a look. Back on our system, as you guys can see here, this is just going to be the API key. So you can simply drop the API key you get from the Google Cloud right over here. Okay, right over here. So this is the way how we enable this. All right, now let's keep going. That's basically just the way how we enable this. Now, next step. Next step is very important, guys. It's not a big deal, but it's so important, which is going to be language settings. So when you click on language settings here, you know the service, like I mentioned, is based on Google Cloud. And seriously, Google Cloud is really powerful, right? They have so many language options. So you guys need to select the right one, the correct one, the one you're using. That's very important. Now, for example, I'm using United States English, this one, right? US version. Well, if I choose some other version like UK or Australia, probably I would get something wrong because it truly depends on your accent. You know, if you're using some other accent when you speak English, probably you would get something wrong, right? That's very important. Okay, so this is very important, like a tips. Okay. Let's see this question. Got a question is, as a reseller, can I use my single account for multiple customers, or do they need their own Google account for each premise system? Good question. For individual users, for end users, if they want to use this feature, they're supposed to use their own Google account. Okay, because this feature actually they can handle it by themselves. Pretty sure, because if they use your account, I think your account will be charged, right? The STT service is not completely for free. All right, and it's not that easy for you to manage this. Not that easy for you to manage this, because I guess Google Cloud, the way how they charge you, is quite complicated. They charge you by minutes. I think maybe by minutes. I think if the recording, I think if the message, the audio message is under like 60 minutes, that's for free. But if the audio message is over 60 minutes, they got a particular calculation method. But I mean, it's just complicated. It's just complicated. So I guess for individual users, if they have only a couple of voicemails, not a problem. They can just handle this by themselves. Use their own Google account, like what I'm doing now. Okay. Then I'll show you guys this. Have a look. So next time, once we enable this speech to text feature, and next time, when individual users, when they try to get the text version of their voicemail, so the interface looks like this. I'm going to show you guys here. So individual users, next time when they try to check their voicemail, they can check the voicemail on their mobile client or the web client, whatever they prefer. So they simply go check on voicemails here, and they can find, for example, this one. You guys can see this button, view text. So you can go click on it, and this is just a way how you get the text version of your voicemail. Hey, how's it going? This is Jason. Please call me back. That's it. So the system will just automatically help you to get the text version. I think this is really cool. It's not a big deal, but it's really cool. Helps a lot. Okay, now let's just switch it back. Okay, so switch it back to our super administrator account, and I think we have a little bit left there. Let's just figure them out. Okay, here we go. So some other things left here, I guess, is like AMI. Not that popular, to be very honest, because AMI is not good for user experience. Truly, guys, this is not that good for user experience, but we do support it. So some customers, if they prefer to have a little bit customization for the integration, like they want to integrate their system with the call center or some other third parties, they can use AMI. So basically, here's the username for the AMI, and you can set the password for your AMI. Anyway, then you can also set a permitted IP address for the AMI connection. But I guess this feature is not that popular, and the most popular way for people to handle integration is actually based on API. Well, talking about the API feature, I guess I got a good news for you guys is API feature will be supported, but not that fast. It will be supported this year. All right, so you guys need to be a little bit patient. Pretty soon we're going to support API, and I'm pretty sure that feature is way more popular than this one. And the last one will be database grant. This feature is also supported. Not very popular once again. For some people, if they truly have the requirement for the database grant, they're going to use MySQL to integrate with the PBX to get some data. For example, like call details, call recording, anyway, some details like that. Then they can actually use database grant as a third, as an option for them to figure out this integration. So I think the solution will be, it might be a little bit popular for some small business users. So some small business users, they truly want to manage everything by themselves. The data center, everything, whatever, they just want to, the database, they want to manage everything by themselves. So I guess they can use MySQL and they can use the database grant feature to figure out the integration to manage their important data. That's just a way. But I guess mostly today for business users, especially for SMEs, this solution is not that popular because today most of our end users, they would like to make their solution easier. They will like to drop all this to the the provider, the dealer, right? So usually they don't want to handle this by themselves. It's just not that user friendly for them. Okay. All right, so I guess that was all we have for today's session, guys. Now please have